Terry Burke, ACLU of Texas, here to speak against the bill. Terry Burke. We'll show Terry against the bill, not testifying. That's fine. We'll get him in a Brent Boyer, here representing himself, testifying against the bill.
Hello, I'm Brent Boyer. I'm representing myself. I do work for a group of clinics that provide abortions. It is right. There is stigma against abortion, and I'm happy and proud to say that I'm working for an organization that is trying to overcome that stigma. I think that women have the right. I've lived in Texas 20 years, in Austin 16 years. I think that I'm dismayed at the direction that this legislature is going with these bills. I think that we're restricting and controlling women who are in situations where they need to have the best health care available. I think that I know that I work with people who provide excellent care and do it every day in the face of people who are determined to make them feel terrible about their choice. And so I'm proud of the women who have told their stories today, continue to stand up for themselves and stand up for their rights. I think that all of us are, I'm not being very articulate, but I'm feeling some emotion. So I'm just would like to say that I know that that if this were to happen, that many of the people that I work with, myself included, would not have a livelihood. We're going to close down, restrict, and we take insurance, we provide good care. I'm thankful for your time, but I'm done. Thanks.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Thank you for being here. Vivian Ballard, here representing herself, testifying against the bill.
She did not testify.
We'll show Vivian. Is this Vivian right here? Okay, Vivian, come on up.
Hi. My name's Vivian Ballard. I live in Austin, and I'm here as a wife of 33 years, a wife to a sixth-generation Texan whose great-great-great-grandfather drafted and signed the Texas Declaration of Independence. And I'm here to oppose this bill as the wife and the mother of two seventh-generation Texans, because I believe that this bill does not help preserve the health of Texas women. I believe it hurts the health of Texas women. When I was pregnant, there were concerns about the fetus that I was carrying, and there were concerns about potential fetal abnormalities. And the tests that were required would not have given results back before the 20-week time frame. It was not until much later in the pregnancy that we found out, thankfully, that everything was fine. But if I had been confronted with an abnormality frankly, it's not something that I wanted all of y'all involved in. I wanted that to be a decision that I made with my spouse, with my medical provider, not you. No offense, y'all are nice folks, but you don't belong in that kind of business. And so I'd really like to urge you to listen to the testimony that so many people have made today that are not in favor of this bill. And I really hope that if you are interested in supporting women's health, that you help fund medically accurate sex education, that you help make provisions for access to birth control in this state, and that you make provisions for access to reproductive health care for all women in the state of Texas.
Thank you very much for your testimony and being here. Members, any questions?
Who is your historical figure in your family?
Colin McKinney.
Neat. All right. Thank you.
Terry Burke, ACLU of Texas, here to speak on the bill.
I'm Terry Burke. I'm the Executive Director of the ACLU of Texas, and I'm here in opposition to this bill. You have heard from many people. You will hear from many more tonight, and I won't be repetitious. I will simply remind you that in Roe v. Wade, the U.S. Supreme Court said that the Constitution protects a woman's liberty, and that includes her decision to have an abortion, and that the state cannot ban an abortion prior to viability. So to do otherwise is to be taking an unconstitutional act in our judgment. These 20-week abortion bans are bad policy because they prevent a woman from making this very private decision, as so many people have mentioned already, but it's a clear violation of a woman's constitutional right. I know you know that other states have tried this, and courts have not upheld it. It has been a federal judge struck down Idaho's 20-week ban. Arkansas, there's an injunction against their ban. We sued in Arizona, and the Ninth Circuit has held that unconstitutional. We sued in Georgia, where a state court has issued a preliminary injunction on the 20-week ban. On admitting privileges, Mississippi has such a law that is now being blocked by a federal court, and the Sixth Circuit has enjoined Ohio on the medication abortion issue. So it is my opinion that this bill will preclude 35% of the population of Texas women from getting reproductive health care because it will close so many clinics and leave such a wide swath of Texas unserved. But most of all, I would suggest that if you believe in the United States Constitution, you cannot pass this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Burke.
Yes. Are you familiar with the Fort Worth Star-Telegram's editorial today?
I read it.
Okay. And so, because the Supreme Court cases, we're talking about, well, the law's viability, and then as this editorial talks about, we're moving the line to the feeling pain, and it speculates that it goes on to basically says that where do we keep moving the line toward? Right. And so can you speak to the legal aspects of that?
Well, let me be certain to say I'm not a lawyer, but I spend a lot of time with them. And the issue is that the Supreme Court has held now for 40 years that its viability is at the third trimester. And that has not changed at all, ever, in 40 years. So this is really politicians deciding when viability is. And I think that there has been a reliance by the Supreme Court on good medical science.
Let me just read you what it concludes. Fetal development moves forward along this continuum, but the pro-life political agenda moves backwards. First, you draw the line at viability, then you draw it at pain capacity, then you draw it at thumb sucking, then you draw it at hearing, then you draw it at kicking, then you draw it at heartbeats. And the list goes on to talk about fuzzy lines. But anyway.
Well, I mean, I think this, you asked a question much earlier about where we are with regulation. I mean, we already require abortions at 16 weeks or later in pregnancy in an ambulatory surgical center at we already have the 16-week rule. Mm-hmm. I think Texas has gone a long way and farther than it should, based on a history of Supreme Court decisions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair now calls Cecilia Wood, Concerned Women for America of Texas, and herself, testifying for the bill. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you? Thank you for having us here today. My name is Cecilia Wood. I'm testifying in favor of the bill, and I'm testifying as the legislative liaison for Concerned Women for America of Texas, as well as for myself as a mother, a grandmother, and in November to be a great-grandmother. And I, first of all, would like to thank Representative Loppenberg. She may not be able to speak for all of the women. However, they can speak for themselves through their vote. She's here today to speak for the citizens that have not yet obtained the right to speak for themselves, and so we thank you for that, Representative Loppenberg. We in Texas have defined a person as an individual, as someone from the point of conception to the point of natural death. In every other circumstance, we protect a person. We protect them in the criminal arena, and we protect their rights under inheritance laws. We even protect their rights as to what type of things can happen towards them in torts. And yet we are not willing to protect the pain that they may suffer. We protect things that are not human beings. We protect animals. And I know, Representative Ferrara, that that's an issue near to your heart because I saw the bills that you did try to get passed last session, in the regular session. And it's already a crime to torture livestock, to torture animals, cruelty to animals. That's a Class A misdemeanor. We even prohibit legally in this state the dismemberment of a corpse. And so I would urge this panel to think very strongly in favor of protecting any living thing that can feel pain and protect them from that pain. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair now calls Margaret Barclay, representing herself, testifying against the bill. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair and Committee, for allowing me to testify. My name is Margaret Barclay, and I'm a constituent of Wayne Smith, and I'm here to testify against these bills.
Can you stick to HB, the bill that we're on right now, HB 60, please? Thank you.
Okay. I had a pregnancy scare a few years ago. I was alone in the ER with abdominal pain when I was told I was pregnant. I knew this was unlikely because of timing and the fact that we had used 2 forms of birth control, and we'd done everything right. But I knew that it was possible. Things happen. I was lucky. It ended up being a false positive. But those 90 minutes were some of the worst of my life, probably even worse than learning I had cancer. I knew I'd be a horrible mother. To this day, I don't know what I would have chosen to do, but I do know that I was comforted in knowing that I had a choice. No one could force me to carry a child to term. I can't imagine the added fear of knowing I had no alternatives. What this bill aims to do is remove the choice to obtain a safe abortion for millions of states' women, particularly the poorest and the most rural among us. It will not eliminate abortion. It will return abortion to unsanitary back alleys, and I refuse to stand silently by and allow you to remove the comfort of choice from me, my sister, my niece, and all the young girls who don't even know yet what an abortion is. Even the most devoutly pro-life women should be allowed to have the choice to choose life based on her convictions, rather than the government forcing her to submit her body to the rigors of pregnancy and labor. I don't like abortion. I don't know anybody who does. But the way to eliminate abortion is to eliminate unwanted conception. Comprehensive sex education, easy access to reliable, inexpensive birth control, forcing women to endure an unreasonable financial and emotional burden to receive a perfectly legal medical procedure under the spurious guise of protecting her health, which should be up to her and her doctor anyway, is not only extremely unfair, it is offensive. Thank you.